What's up, everybody? It's Marcus. Please go to prophotoedits.com where you can download my Lightroom presets and Photoshop actions. And today we're going to get into this review finally, the 85 RF 1.2 from Canon. It's the Canon. So the 85 1.2 RF, the story on this lens for me was I rented this lens to do a review, not for you guys, but for me personally, versus my 85 EF version. And I rented it for like 4 or 5 days, and before I even got it sent back, I had one on the way to me. I liked it that much. So just hop into Lightroom and check out a bunch of images that I've taken with this 85 RF 1.2, and I'll let you know everything that I love about it. If there's anything I don't like about it, I'll share it with you guys. Pretty much just the price, but let's hop into this. So alright, not to waste a bunch of your time, I want to go through some of these shots rather quickly and just give you some of my favorites so far. So this one right here is a favorite of mine, and I just wanted to show you this because this is a natural light shot. Sun's getting a little bit lower, and you can actually see that. That's why I'm not really like over the moon about the DS version. Is I don't think we really need it. Look how nice this soft this background is, and I'm going to talk about this in a few of these images and why this lens is so incredible to me. The fall off, if you zoom in here and look, the fall off here, you can't really ever tell where it starts and where it stops, and that's a big deal for me on lenses this sharp. And of course at 1.2 you can see it nailed the eye in almost every shot, and I'll give you some behind the scenes on this too. So you can see right here the bokeh, the blur is just so painterly, and you can't really tell exactly when it. So in this shot we were just flapping the dress and the gown, I should say, the parachute dress, and I wanted to give you a shot with a little bit of a busier background and show you. This is at ISO 400. The sun was starting to set a little bit, and it was kind of like just past blue hour, so you can see how painterly this looks. This is the lake or a little pond, and behind there you have the greens and all the shrubbery and stuff like that, and the bokeh is just really nice and smooth, and the image is tack sharp. So here's another version of that shot in portrait orientation, and that's typically how I shoot, just because when I'm doing stuff for magazines and stuff like that, they always want them in portrait. So you can see that the fall off here is not distracting at all. You can still make out that these are trees and everything, and I'm pretty far away at this point, and you can still see all the gradients in the sky there. And this is just a image straight out of camera with one of my presets on there, just to bring it to life a little bit. You can see I didn't get rid of any of the grass or anything like that, but it's a really good image. Now let's get a little bit closer. So I'll give you some mid-body shots here against a brick wall, and then I'll show you some that are out in a little bit of more of an open space, just to give you a couple different scenarios. As you can see that the brick here in the wall is gone. You can't even see any of the actual lines in the brick or make out any patterns really, which is really cool because it kind of dials you in where you need to be on the model. And the eyes are tack sharp, always in focus with the new update on the EOS R with the eye autofocus. The skin is, no, you're not overly crunchy or anything like that, but you can see the fall off. You can't really even tell where it starts. It's just right there in the hair, and it's on the neck a little bit. Really nice, beautiful fall off, and it's kind of getting rid of that gross stain on the wall down there. So we get closer with this next shot, and you can see now the eye is still incredibly sharp. This eye is going out of focus a little bit. You could count every single hair here if you wanted to. And this is only, what, 31 megapixels on the EOS R. The fall off is really nice and dreamy. It starts like right about there, and there's no distinct line. It's already going out of focus on the choker. All the pattern in the brick is gone, and that's just a few inches behind her head. So it really has a nice shallow depth of field. So getting a little bit closer with the busier background, we're just here on an open street, and I'll show you some of the behind the scenes on this. And we're just walking, waiting for the sun to get lower, and I just want to show you the fall off if you were to frame an image like this, which is typically how I frame half body portraits. I like the hair to one shoulder back, and the hair to kind of fall off into nothing, you know, just to give it a little bit of a dreamy look. And you can see that it just really doesn't give any clues to where the actual fall off starts, which is so nice. Alright, so I want to show you a shot with the reflector. Her mother is to the left, camera left here. If I have the behind the scenes, I'll put it up on the screen. And let's see, the reflector you can see in her eyes. It's nice and sharp there on the eye. The fall off is really smooth. The choker is gone again. Let's see. maybe the slightest hint of chromatic aberration right there, but man, it's really hard to find. It's really not that epic purple that you're used to seeing with a lot of other lenses. Can't really see it at all, and this is where you typically find it. So here's another shot with the ponytail hanging down from the back, and you can see it's just melting it away. This is a busy street. There's cars. There's a bunch of stuff going on. I'm trying to show you as many of these backlight shots as I can to prove that the chromatic aberration is just, they've handled it really well. Any place that you can see it, it's just not, it's not to be found, which is incredible. So you can tell here at minimum focusing distance, it's super buttery, and you're getting a nice sunset reflection there on her hair, or it's not really reflection, it's actually direct light, backlit. And you zoom in, and this is epic. For 31 megapixels, it's crazy. It reminds me of like shooting on a high-end Z7 or a A7R3 or something like that. So I can't wait to see how it looks on the R5 and whatever's to come after that. So I'll give you a look at the background of this shoot I was doing with the 85 RF 1.2 with Lola, this model you're looking at right here. And this was in like a junkyard atmosphere, and it was a bit overcast. And as you can see, we did some night shooting as well. I'm going to show you with the 85 RF 1.2 in a minute. But I just wanted to take a quick little intermission, have some fun, and show you where we were at so you can get a better gauge on the lighting on that day. It was a bit overcast, and we had Cliffy's Cobra out there and just had some fun. We lit some of these images up with the headlights, and you can check this full video out, and I'll put a link below. So with the model Lola, we were shooting a video this day, and I was just testing out the lens here, waiting for the sun to get a little bit lower. I typically don't shoot against red brick. I just can't stand it. It's one of my pet peeves because it causes a cast onto the skin. But I corrected it as much as I can with my own presets. There you go, straight out of camera, boring and dull. That preset added some color and gave it some character. But you can tell that this wall was just like 3 or 4 inches away from her arm, and it's already super buttery and just makes her pop off the background. So as I get closer on the next shot there, you can see, let's zoom in, incredibly sharp there on the eyes. Skin still looks very nice. She has incredible skin as well. So even with the lens that this sharp, and this is the only critique that I have of it, is so sharp that even on someone with perfect skin, you're still going to have to touch a few places up. And that's just, it is what it is. There's no going back once you make a lens this sharp. But this is the sharpest lens I've ever shot with autofocus that had this nice of bokeh. Smooth, really nice natural transition, super nice fall off. You can tell how far gone the windows are now. It's really nice and dreamy and just isolates her, and just pleasing to look at. To give you another angle here, I like to shoot upwards sometimes just to try all my different ideas out. And let's see, I'll reset it so you can see what it looks like out of camera. There was nothing being used on that day for lighting, and with one of my presets on there. Alright, so this get real close with Lola, and you can tell I didn't take any of the hairs off the face or anything like that. This is just with the preset on there, no editing at all, and it's incredibly sharp. I don't think this is quite minimum focusing distance, but it's close. And fall off is really nice. You can see the hair going out of focus there. The skin is nice and soft. So another shot here close up, just driving the fact home, giving you guys a bunch of different examples of this lens. Uber sharp on the eye there, and this is out of focus. Her eyebrows out of focus over here, so you can see how shallow the depth of field is at 1.2, and you really can't get that out of a 1.4. You can get close because I've shot them all. You can get pretty close, but not that dreamy. The hair is gone. Everything here is completely just isolated and pulling you into where the focus needs to be. So when I was looking through these images, I actually thought this was my 105, but it wasn't. It was the 85 RF. And I just thought that because with this framing, usually I don't see this much bokeh and this much separation with the N85, except for this one. It just really has incredible bokeh. This is Cliffy's Cobra back here from the video we were doing, and this is like a wall with some graffiti on it and stuff like that, probably, I don't know, 20 feet away, and it's just gone. I'll show you some night shots here just to show you how it focuses and performs at night. And I want to show you how it flares out. So we just had, the ISO was way up now. This is 2000 ISO on the EOS R, so I'm not expecting a great rendition here of like color accuracy or anything like that, and it's going to have some grain to it, but that's just what you get. I'm shooting directly with the backlighting coming from the headlights here, and you can see it's bouncing around up here, and the bokeh here is the balls are, you know, pretty circular, not 100% circular, but they're close. Very much improved over the EF version. So when it got even darker, I wanted to take a shot with the car behind her and actually have Cliffy hold the light and get a little bit closer here. So this is just like a $40 newer LED light that's a little bit harsh, but it worked for this video shoot. We use it on this photo here. I mean, it looks like a painting almost, and that's not anything but the lens. I haven't touched this up. You can see that straight out of camera, my preset on there, and really brought it to life. This lens can be a really dreamy lens, you know, under the right scenario, even though it's so sharp. So switching gears like 100%, me and Sungadi were doing a video this day, and also a photo shoot as well, and I didn't really want to use my 85 too much on this shoot just because I wanted to get a lot of the details. So I was using 35 and 50 a lot, but you can see this is a wall back here with in a little cottage with pictures and stuff, and a lamp here in the front. And I just put one of my presets on there that I use for my boudoir images a lot, just to give it a softer, more pleasing, appealing look. So looking at some studio images, and I stopped it down to f2 here, just so it's not all wide open images. And you can see once I zoom in here, it's really sharp. And I shot this against the orange backdrop just because for this publication I wanted it to be a little bit more of a flare look to it, something cool to look at. And as you look at it here, you can see their eyes really sharp, and you can see the hair is really soft and going on the other side of her face as well. The skin is nice and soft though, still at f2, and I'm probably a good 15 feet away framing this in a portrait orientation. I have her standing up on a little wooden chair there, lighting it with a 48-inch parabolic softbox. You can still see a lot of the detail on her skin, but it's not like overly crunchy or anything like that. It's really just an organic, pleasing image. So you can see at 1.2 wide open in the studio, just doing some studio boudoir stuff, some fun stuff. That's really sharp. The hair is gone back here. It's just a nice rendering for people that do any type of boudoir stuff where they need the skin to be a little bit softer. Let's look at some close-up untouched studio stuff. Wide open at 1.2, and this is with my buddy Ivy. Great model, and that's just straight out of camera. A little bit boring, so I put my preset on there and kind of brought it to life a little bit. So look how far and away this hair is. It's just look like it's a mile away. It's so far out of focus. And I know a lot of people like to shoot editorial stuff like at f8. I don't really get into that because I'll fix all this their skin stuff up, and if you go to f8 you're gonna be fixing it for days. And I like to shoot things like medium format type of look, right? So you can see the collar we have on her. The necklace collar is gone, and let's look at some of these bokeh balls. Nice and symmetrical. So what do I think about this lens? My final thoughts as I walk you through a couple more of these images. It's probably the best 85 I've ever touched. It's organic in a way that if you look at this image right here, you cannot tell where the fall off starts. You just can't tell it. You can't find any specific, you know, hint to say where it starts to go out of focus, and it never ever gets busy at all. And I've owned a lot of 85s. I've owned the 85 1.4 G Master from Sony. I've owned the 85 1.8 Zeiss Baddest from Sony. I've owned the 85 1.4 Sigma Art. I've owned the 85 1.4 G from Nikon. I've owned the 85 EF 1.2 L2, and I still own that. 85 was really one of my go-to lenses, so I know that Nikon can make an 85 1.2 to compete with this if they really want to for the Z mount, and their sensors are better than Canon's. There's just no way around that. But all these images you're looking at right now are edited with my presets on the EOS R, and they're fine for me. I mean, I really can't tell a big difference in post. It's just that extra push of dynamic range. But we're here to talk about this RF lens, and if you have the money and 85 as your lens, I would strongly consider getting this lens. Rent it first. I don't want to spend anybody's money for them. I had to sell a lot of lenses to get this lens, and I'm actually very happy with it. If not, I just would have returned it. But leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. Download the raw files, play with them. Visit my site, prophotoedits.com. I have everything on sale right now. Hope you stay safe during this pandemic. Sorry this is such a long review, but I really wanted to give you guys your money's worth. You're going to be spending a lot of money if you want this lens, and hopefully these resources will help you make a pretty informed decision there. So until next time, it's Marcus. See you later.